Flies need to leave me alone. Hello, my name is Ure, or Chimso. I'm sorry if I cough a lot in this video. I'm very congested and I have nothing to break up the mucus in my throat. Anyways, I'm here to talk about brainwashing myself. I did a video a couple weeks ago where I was talking about how I believe that everything is propaganda. Everything that we see, the way that the world is structured, things that we say we believe, things that we hold very near and dear to our hearts, is all trying to get us to believe that life is a certain way, should be a certain way, and affect our experience of it. And that we get to choose which propaganda we adhere to. And the process of propagandizing someone is brainwashing. And I'm becoming more and more aware that everything that I believe and choose to stake my life on is a process of choosing a certain type of propaganda. Some of the things that I particularly choose to stake my life on are Christianity, which is what we're going to talk about today, and the belief in entrepreneurship and business, African identity, relationships, community, love, and all of those things. Today, like I said, I want to talk about my relationship with believing in the resurrection of Jesus, as opposed to saying being a Christian or even believing in Jesus, because I think I've come to understand that the core of my beliefs is actually believing that Jesus rose from the dead and the implications that that has on my life. So, where did this all start? Circa 2,000 years ago. No, I'm kidding. I've been a Christian essentially my whole life, like as a choice. I grew up in the church. My parents were Christians, but I actively made a choice to follow God and have a relationship with Him when I was 5 years old. So my entire life, this has kind of been a thing. And I'm also a very philosophically inclined person and a very inquisitive person, so I ask a lot of questions endlessly. I went through this phase my freshman year of college, which was, what year is it, 2026? 5 years ago. Almost 6 years ago, where I asked a lot of questions and kind of was in a similar place that I'm in right now. My sophomore year, I came to the decision that I'm making again right now, which is I'm just going to choose to follow Jesus and see what happens. I had a great time the rest of my undergrad, graduated, came back home, went through that questioning phase that I went through in my freshman year of college again. And now we're back at the same place that I was at my sophomore year, where I again have to make a decision about if I'm going to follow Jesus or something else. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like, it's a lot easier for me to just make a decision to believe in the resurrection of Jesus because I've done it before and I know what's on the other side of it than trying to spend even more time. I graduated 2 years ago, so I've been in this place for 2 years. Spending even more time trying to explore and find something else that resonates with me. I could have said trying to find the truth. That's a discussion for another day in terms of what is truth? Do I even believe that truth exists? But the place that I'm at right now is choosing to brainwash myself with the narrative that a man died and rose from the dead and what that means for human existence and for my existence personally. I've been going through a pretty difficult season the past 2 years since undergrad. Mentally, spiritually, relationally, financially, professionally. All the leads, all the leads have been hard the past 2 years of graduation. But the first one to kind of start being shaken was spiritually, my beliefs, my foundations as a Christian, someone who believed in God, came about coming across traditional Igbo spirituality, which is called Odinani, seeing the beauty in it and kind of questioning what really makes Christianity unique. And so then I started this whole deep dive of studying ancient Hebrew spirituality as a tribal belief, the same way that Odinani is a tribal belief, the same way that tribes from Native Americans are tribal beliefs, the same way that the Greek spirituality was a tribal belief. And so it kind of brought specifically the Old Testament, because that's where it's primarily found, down to the same level as every other culture and cultural belief that there is out there. And through that, and also just through exploration of philosophy, really started shaking my foundations as a Christian. And then also in that time, I was exploring different denominations. So I grew up as non-denominational, Pentecostal streams, charismatic streams, both as a kid and also when I was an undergrad. Never interacted deeply with Christian traditions outside of that. I went to a Methodist boarding school, and the chaplain at our school was Methodist, but that didn't really like change all of that much of my experience. And I started learning a lot about like other Christian denominations and their theological backgrounds, their historical backgrounds, the claims that they were making, claims of the apostolic churches about we are the one true church, and what does that mean? Are you saying we're not going to heaven? And all these other claims that they make. So it was exploring all of these different things that really made me question, like, what is it that I say I believe? What does it mean to be a Christian? Where does it come from? Why is it important? Does it even matter? And because of the difficult time I've been having with all the Lees in my life the past couple of years, I personally am seeing more and more the need for what I believe the core of Christianity offers. The main things that I've come across so far, and there may be more in the future, are hope, transformation, and love. Hope, because the core of Christianity is the resurrection of Jesus and the belief that no matter how bad a situation gets, no matter how done and over it may seem, not just that it can be transformed, but it will be transformed. Because as a result of the resurrection of Jesus, we Christians believe that not only us as believers, but all of creation is going to go through this metamorphosis process, die by fire, rise again type of stuff. And it's a really comforting thought, but I think it's also really challenging, because when you come face to face with the difficulties of life, and not just like your life, but just you see how broken the world is, you really have to ask yourself, is this what I believe? Do I believe Jesus actually rose from the dead? Like, do I actually believe that this situation is going to be redeemed? And as Paul says, that the glory that will be revealed cannot even be compared to the present sufferings that we experience. So that's hope. What's the next one? Transformation. I think hope and transformation go hand in hand. Like, hope for transformation ultimately. And I think for me, a belief that not only in the resurrection of all things will things be transformed, but I can start experiencing and seeing transformation in my life now. Now, this is something I personally experienced when I was an undergrad, but just being in a place where my faith is not that, it doesn't feel that solid. And I haven't been in environments where I have seen transformation. It has caused transformation in a short period of time, like a year. It has caused me to kind of be doubtful of it and skeptical of it and if it's really possible. And it was something that was really core to my life and drove a lot of the things that I was doing. And not having that as something easy to hold on to has made it hard for me to do a lot of the things that I want to do. And that's why I want to brainwash myself into believing again. So transformation, and then love. Love being the generating, binding, driving force of all that there is. A belief that things are oriented towards good and harmony and enjoyment and fulfillment, and that it doesn't end in sadness and destruction and despair, and that it really does ultimately lead to us experiencing love as human beings, our deepest desire. So these are the things I'm currently trying to brainwash myself into believing, just because I believe it'll allow me to experience life better and have a yeah, just a better experience of life, make me a better person to be around, help me to be a more productive person in society. I'm still at a place where I'm rebuilding, like actively rebuilding what it means for me to follow Jesus and believe in the resurrection, because I genuinely, like, everything was up for grabs except for the Trinity. Everything was up for grabs except for the fact that there is a God, he has a spirit, and Jesus rose from the dead. Like, everything else was up for grabs. So actively still trying to understand, besides these core foundations, is there anything else? Do I need anything else? I think there are things that naturally flow out of it, but in terms of, do I necessarily need anything else to stake my life on? I'm not sure, but that's the process we're on. And maybe I'll come back with a brainwashing update in a few. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here and say that. Okay. Thanks for stopping by.